We're going to start seated, center of mat in Sukhasana pose. So one ankle in front of the other. We are going to switch it up. So don't worry about which one is in front because we will find a change. Shrug your shoulders back. Drawing your shoulder blades a little bit closer together. Pull your belly button in towards your spine. Lifting up through your heart. Drop your chin about 1/4 of an inch and then send it back in space about 1/2 inch so that the center of your ears are more or less generally over your shoulders. Allow your eyes to close or at least soften your eye gaze. And take a few moments to settle into your breath. Arriving in your breath, arriving in your body, arriving on this mat, arriving together as community. On your inhales, feeling your entire rib cage expand outward. And grow lighter, grow taller, and on your exhales, contracting and grounding down through your hips, softening through your thighs. Bring your palms to your heart center. Thumbs in toward your sternum. So as you're breathing in, your chest presses into your thumbs, and your thumbs respond back. And I invite you to set a dedication for this practice. The thing that I've been working with for the past week or so has been offering compassion, both those around me and also to myself. Recognizing that something that you may be critical of is something that you find within yourself, and allowing yourself to lean into that vision of what's going on and offering compassion on all sides. Bow your head to your heart, release your hands down to your legs. Lift your chin up and then blink your eyes open. On a breath in, reach your arms out and up. Send your gaze up towards your thumbs. On an exhale, twist the left. Right hand to your left thigh. Left fingertips behind you. So we're going to take a strong seated twist here. Slide your shoulder blades toward each other, even in this twist. Send your chin over to the left. Imagine that your chin would go beyond your left shoulder. Notice if your chin starts to point upward. Draw it down to generally the same plane as when we were doing our brief meditation toward the beginning of our practice. Send your eyes to the left side of your eye sockets. Notice if you can feel any muscular changes and sensations when you do that. Send your chin back towards the front. Unravel. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, twist to the other direction. Left hand to right thigh, right fingertips behind you. Again, shoulder blades starting to draw toward each other. Fronts of your shoulders working away from each other. Low belly in, drawing your belly button in to give yourself a little more support to help you twist. Again, chin goes like it would move beyond your right shoulder. Eyes go into the right corners of your eye sockets. And then send your gaze back to center, unravel. Inhale, arms come up. And again, exhale, hands in towards your heart center. Shift out your legs. And then you're going to first start leaning over to the left. So you can either come onto your forearms, but the way that both of your bodies are, you might be able to come all the way down, onto your hand or come all the way onto your forearm. It's a little bit more intense. So as you come down forearm, you're going to still reach your right hip down toward the mat. And if it rises up, it does. You're going to still keep working it down. So left rib cage starts to rotate upward. It'll still help a bit to draw your belly button in. Being careful not to just like drop your neck, still holding strong here. So you've got this opposing motion, right hip pressing down as you press down with your left forearm. And then right arm comes out and then sweep it around. So kind of like you're coming to an extended side angle, but a seated version. Pinky is down, roll your shoulder back, point your elbow a little bit more up, keep pressing your right hip towards the right. Soften through your jaw. All right, then on an exhale, come up to seated again. Notice sides of your body. Come over to the right, onto your right palm first, and then start to drop your elbow down. Sides of body are really different. You could always have a prop here to help. I feel like a blanket would probably be better than a block, but anything that's going to give you lift, to give you that contact is going to be great. Again, you're pressing down with your left hip. So just explore this first. Start to rotate your right side of your rib cage upward, engage your belly and your core. And then when you're ready, left arm comes out and then sweep it around. So already getting ourselves into this side body stretch, this extended side angle shape. Point your left elbow more up toward the ceiling. Not coming down so far. Right rib cage is coming up. And then on an exhale, come up to seated. Come over onto your hands and knees. Tabletop pose. One very strong cow pose. We're going to be here for a couple breaths. Inner elbows point forward, fingertips spread wide. Either flare through your toes or tucked toes, flick your mat away from you. Really see if you can get the longest space you can underneath your neck as you send your gaze upward. And then on exhale, start to draw your belly button in towards your spine again. Ribs towards, floating ribs towards your hips. Cat pose. Continue that action through your toes, through your feet. And then come back down to neutral spine, tuck your toes, make your way back to downward facing dog. So your inner thighs draw back, maybe bend your knees really deeply. It is my first down dog of the day, maybe yours as well. Bend your elbows slightly and then squeeze them toward each other. Inner elbows pointing more towards the front of your mat. And then keeping that angle, start to re-straighten your arms again. Notice any differences in sensation. Inhale, right leg comes up and back, tripod dog, bend your knee, open up through your hips. Keep your right shoulder down. On an exhale, take your knee to your right elbow, shift it forward. Inhale, take it up toward the ceiling. Exhale, take your knee across your body to your left elbow. Inhale, up and back, place the foot next to the other, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up and back, bend the knee, open up through the hips first. And then on an exhale, take your left knee towards your left elbow, shift forward, inner elbows are still pointing forward. Tripod dog again. Exhale, take your knee across your body to the right elbow. Inhale up toward the ceiling, place your foot next to the other, down dog. Inhale, rise to your toes, come to the top of a plank pose so that we're in plank position. Stay here for 3 more breaths. And then come down onto your left forearm and then down to your right forearm. Press up through your right hand, up onto your left hand. Come down to your right forearm, come down to your left forearm. Press up through your left, press up through your right. Bring your chin to your chest, puff up your back, roll up and back to downward facing dog once again. As long as you can get, bend your knees up towards the top of your mat. On an exhale, step or hop to the top, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Press your feet down and away from each other. Get as long as you can through the sides of your body. Exhale, keeping the length, hinge at your hips, forward fold. Reverse swan dive, come up all the way to standing. Palms lift, chin goes up. Exhale, hands to your heart center, and then arms alongside your body. Tadasana, 3 breaths. Inhale, hands lift, chin is up as tall as you can possibly get. Exhale, hinge at your hips, a little bend to your knees, even to keep a flat spine, release all the way down. Breath in, halfway lift, wave out. Exhale, fold, step back to top of plank pose. Exhale, lower through chaturanga, knees up or down, and either hover above your mat and go all the way down, untuck your toes, upward facing dog or cobra if you prefer. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pull it all the way back. Inhale, right leg up and back. Exhale, place your foot between your hands toward the right thumb and unravel into your warrior 2, sit low. Reach your fingertips in opposite directions. Look over your right middle finger. And then make sure that you've got enough weight in your left foot to really provide you with the balance you need. Lift up your right heel. Drop your hips even further, and then press your right heel into the mat. Back to your warrior 2. Low belly is in. Surf your fingertips towards the front of your mat. We're going to take a side angle pose. So forearm onto the thigh, or maybe you're feeling flexible enough this morning and warm enough that your hand can come down to the mat. First, start with left fingertips up toward the ceiling, regular side angle pose. So as you're doing when you're seated, right rib cage is pointing up, send your chin up toward your left thumb. Get as long as you can through your left leg. And then on an exhale, back to warrior 2, keeping your thigh generally in the same direction. On an exhale, cartwheel down to a low lunge. Step your right foot all the way toward the ceiling in a tripod dog. Bend your knee, open up through your hip. Exhale, take your knee to your left elbow once again. Step your right foot back, high plank pose. Optional vinyasa, we'll meet in down dog. From downward facing dog, inhale, left leg up and back. Exhale, left foot plants between your hands toward your left thumb. Warrior two, as you are ready. Unravel. Sit low. We'll just be here for a few breaths. And just as we did on the other side, lift up your left heel, drop your hips, get your thigh a little bit closer to the mat, and then slowly release the heel back down toward the mat. Serve towards the front of the room. Side angle pose, right fingertips are up, left inner elbow points forward. Slide your left hip underneath you. Left rib cage wrapping upward. Again, notice if you have a tendency to take an arc in your back. Instead, try to find a little bit more Tadasana through your spine here. As you're ready, on an exhale, warrior two, once again, sit low. Exhale, cartwheel all the way down. You're in a low lunge. Pull your left heel up to your hips, strike it up toward the ceiling, tripod dog. Exhale, take your knee across your body to the right elbow. Step your left foot back, high plank. Vinyasa if you'd like to take them. Come back to the long, slow breaths in and out. Once again, coming back to that expansion of your rib cage and the contraction. Keeping your belly center of attention as well. On your next inhale, right leg comes up and back. On an exhale, take your knee to your right elbow, shift it forward. Inhale, up and back. This time, exhale, place your foot between your hands toward your right thumb. Warrior two, as you're ready, sit low. Extended side angle this time. So surfing forward, getting lots of length. Start to tilt your right rib cage up toward the ceiling. And if you want to take a regular side angle, left fingertips are up, or swing your arm around for the extension, similar to what we did earlier today, just seated. So see if you can still mimic that shape. However, you've got your lower body in the shape as well, in the warrior two shape that is. On an exhale, come back to warrior two. We're going to move to an ardha chandrasana, half moon pose. Reach forward, lift up onto your left toes. Right hand comes down at an angle to your right pinky. About, for me, it looks like it's about 10 inches. Take a peek at your left toes. You're going to try to get your toes about in line with your nose, so it's not, your leg's not swinging back or forward. So right rib cage pointing upward. As you're ready, left fingertips up toward the ceiling. Maybe consider floating your right fingertips away from whatever it's touching, even just removing a little bit of the weight. And then on an exhale, a little bend through your right knee, take your left hand down, take your left foot down, forward fold. Heel toe your feet away from each other, toes out, heels in, and then sit into malasana pose. Your hips towards the center of your feet, elbows to the sides of your legs, palms together. And of course, in this pose, if your heels are lifted, make the adjustments you need, roll up your mat, and then place that underneath your heels. And if you need more lift than that, blanket, block, whatever works. All right, release your hands down, start to lift your hips back up. Heel toe your feet back so that they are hips width distance. We're gonna take Ardha Chandrasana, half moon on the left side. Little bend to left knee, left hand comes a little bit further out to the left for balance. Start to lift up your right foot. It's a much, much different entrance point. Start to extend the foot back, legs become straighter. Maybe take your left hand to your left rib cage, rotate your entire torso. When you're ready, right fingertips come up. Maybe hover your fingertips away from the mat again. You might need to take a peek to your right toes to make sure that your leg is not swinging back. Little tiny bend to your left knee to give yourself lots of strength. All right, and when you're ready, on an exhale, little bend to your left knee, right hand comes down, right foot comes down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, offer your heart out, get really long. Keeping length, exhale, fold, hinge at your hips. Come all the way up to standing. Arms up, chin up. Exhale, hands into your heart center. Stay here, bring your arms alongside your body in Tadasana. 3 breaths, mountain pose. On an inhale, arms go up, chin goes up. Exhale, hinge at your hips, take it all the way forward. Breath in, halfway lift, offer your heart. And exhale, fold to yourself, offering yourself that same compassion. Step back to top of plank pose. Vinyasa, if you would like to take it, any variation, or feel free to skip it. We'll meet each other in downward facing dog. Come back to that same downward facing dog from beginning of class, maybe even taking that check, bent elbows, squeezing elbows toward each other, and then beginning to re-straighten. When you're ready, inhale, left leg up and back. Exhale, take your knee to your left elbow, shift it forward, hips are high, heel towards your bum. Inhale, up and back again. Exhale, place your foot between your hands towards your left thumb. Warrior two, as you are ready. Again, take all those things you need, lift up your heel, and drop it down. And then we're going to take an extended side angle, or perhaps regular side angle. So forward, left hand comes down. First, start with the right fingertips up. And then if and when you're ready, slide your right arm so that your bicep is more or less coming over your right cheek or even your ear. Left elbow turns inside out. Press the outer edge of your right foot. Continue to breathe even in this position. Full expansion of your breath. Full contraction on your exhales. Just breathe. Right shoulder away from your ear. And then as you're ready, return back to warrior two, lift up. All right, half moon pose on the left side. Lean forward, come up onto your right toes, give yourself a little bit of lift. Left hand touches something, or maybe not, maybe you stay lifted. Again, your hand will be in a bias of your left pinky toe. Right leg extended back, toes flexed or pointed, or something's happening with those toes though. They're very active. Left rib cage is turning upward. Just breathe. Maybe take some weight out of those left fingertips. Just a little bit. All right, and when you're ready, on an exhale, bend through your left knee, right hand comes down, right foot comes down. Again, we take malasana pose, toes out, heels in, sit low. Press your palms toward each other, shrug your shoulder blades back. Soften through your jaw and the back of your neck. Pose out of forehead. And when you're ready, release your hands down toward the mat. Start to lift up your hips. Heel toe the feet back till they're about hips width distance. Bend to both knees. Ardha chandrasana on the right side again. Right hand out on a bias of the right pinky toe. Lift up the left leg. Start to extend it back. Right rib cage. Right side of your rib cage. Starting to wind its way up. Maybe you fell over just like I did. Left fingertips up toward the ceiling as you're ready. Just breathe. Again, maybe you're taking weight away from the right fingertips, wherever they might be touching. Just breathe through it. Can you grow longer? And then as you're ready, left hand comes down, left foot comes down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, way back long, press your feet down and away from each other. Give yourself lots of strength and stability, keeping that shape. Exhale, forward fold. Make your way all the way to standing. Lift up, chin up. Exhale, hands to heart. Keep your hands here or alongside your body, 3 breaths. After that third exhale, inhale, lift up, upward prayer. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Fold once again, step back to plank pose. And you can take a vinyasa if you would like, or meet me back in downward facing dog. We'll all come to the same place. Move whenever you're ready. Deep breath in. Full breath out. Bend your knees, look toward your hands, and then take your thumbs toward each other, fingertips spread wide. Again, bend your elbows back, and then start to draw them toward each other like you're squeezing something between them. Draw your low belly in, get strong. And on an exhale, you're going to hop forward to a malasana pose, feet to the outside of your hands. Come to malasana. 3 breaths once you get to where you're going. On an exhale, release your hands down toward the mat, lift up your heels. Ardha Chandrasana to the right side. Make sure that your heels and toes are in a straight line first. And straight is, like relative. Left fingertips are up as you're ready. And then if you'd like to mimic some of the shapes that we've been doing here, you're going to bring your left arm out parallel to the mat, pinky down, and then sweep it towards the front of the room. Pinky down, shoulder away from ear. Maybe you can even hover your right fingertips away from the mat still. Tiny bend to the right knee to give yourself strength. Lots of activity through the left toes. Just breathe. And then as you're ready, bending through both knees, left foot comes down, malasana pose again. Toes out, heels in, palms toward each other. Tailbone drops, the belly is in, belly button reaching to spine. 3 more breaths. And at the end of that third exhale, hands start to come down, lift up your hips, pivot your toes back in. Middle toe, or second toe rather, kind of in line with the center of your left heel. Ardha chandrasana, left side. Lift up the right leg. Start to press it back as your left leg becomes straighter. Maybe not fully straight. Left rib cage comes up, right fingertips are up. Ardha chandrasana. Give yourself several breaths here. And again, you can always use a block if you want, come up against a wall, even pressing your right foot into a wall. And then if you want to take that same side body stretch, similar to an extended side angle, bring your right arm down, parallel to the earth, angle your right pinky down, and then sweep your right arm. So it's reaching towards the front of the room. If you're me, you didn't think about how close you are to the wall, and maybe still have your left fingertips away from the mat. Get strong. A little bit of shaking, a little bit of wobbling is exactly where you'd want to be. All right, and when you're ready, release your right hand down, release your right foot down. Malasana pose, toes out, heels in, sit low. Palms toward each other, and breathe. Release your hands down toward the mat. Start to lift your hips up. Heel toe your feet back in toward each other. Breath in, halfway lift, wave long. Exhale, fold. Come all the way up to standing. Palms lift, chin up. Exhale, hands to your heart center. Shift the weight over to your left leg. Little bend to your knee, cross your right ankle, over your left thigh. Flex the foot. Send your hips back as you're standing figure 4. So start to hips back, knee down and back, hinge forward, attempting to keep a flatter kind of Tadasana-like spine here. Hands at your heart. You can always take your hands to your hips. Just breathe here. And then as you're ready, as you're hinging forward, you might find that your hands can come down to the mat. If so, start to straighten your left leg without locking it out. And what I mean by that is keeping some bend to it and not just like letting your joint hold you up. Continue to have that activity through the right leg. And then as a prep for an hour balance that we're not going to practice in this class, hook your right toes around your left upper arm. So you're like flexing real hard. All right, if you've taken that forward version, start to come up, uncross, stand down, shift the weight immediately over to the right leg, cross your left ankle over the right thigh, hinge forward. Flexing from the foot, left knee goes down and back. Move slowly, move gently. The outer hips have been carrying a lot of responsibility through this sequence. So be gentle as we provide some stretch there. And then if and when you're ready, hands come down towards a prop or all the way to your mat. And then if you'd like, hook your lifted toes around your right upper arm as you come forward. All right, start to lift your way back up, unhooking the arm. Stand down, come to Tadasana, arms alongside your body, or perhaps you'd like to leave your hands at your heart center. Inhale, palms lift up, lift up. Exhale, forward fold. Breath in, halfway lift, get as long as you can. Exhale, fold, come back to Malasana pose. Toes out, heels in, sit low. We're gonna be here for about 3 breaths, and then we're gonna shift over to the left side for a ardha chandrasana, half moon. As you're ready, on an exhale, start to lift up, realign your feet as you need, shift to the left, right leg goes out, right arm goes up. And then if you'd like to take the extension, right arm overhead, pinky is down. Maybe starting to pull some of the weight away from your left arm. Hand and foot come down, malasana pose, 3 breaths. And then shift over to the right. Again, aligning heel and toes. Ardha chandrasana, half moon pose. Maybe take arm extension. And then hand and foot come down, malasana pose, sit low. And one more time, either side, move to the rhythm of your own breath. Spending about 3 breaths in each pose. Moving from your half moon to malasana, and then half moon again. And then finally returning back to the malasana pose, garland pose. And then release hands to mat, lift up your heels, heel toe the feet back in till they're hips width distance. Breath in, halfway lift, get very long. Exhale, fold forward. Come all the way up to standing. Get as tall as possible. Lifting up through your fingertips, pressing down through your feet. Exhale, hands to your heart. And then arms alongside your body if you'd prefer. 3 more breaths here. Inhale, lift up. Exhale and bow. Halfway lift on an inhalation. Exhale, fold, step back to the top of your plank pose. On an exhale, chaturanga, to or towards your mat. Untuck your toes, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Next inhale, right leg comes up and back. On an exhale, place your foot to the outside of your right hand. Drop your left knee. We're gonna come into a lizard pose, right toes slightly pointing out to the side. Come down to your forearms, or maybe just bending a little bit at your forearms. We're first gonna start with pressing down through your foot so that your knee is pointing more upward rather than falling out to the side. And also, if you're looking for a little more zhuzh, start to pull your right heel in like it's working towards your left knee and vice versa. Press back up into your palms if you took that lower variation. Take your left hand out a little bit more. And then this time, do allow your right knee to come out to the side, maybe coming onto the razor edge of your right foot. If this is feeling okay and you want to take this a little bit further, you have the option to pull your left heel up towards you. Reach your right arm up and back, reaching for your foot. And then taking a quad stretch as your right knee opens out to the side. Even here, you could start to wrap your left rib cage upward. If you took the bind with your left foot, release the foot. Cycle your right hand back around. Bring your right knee up towards the ceiling. Tuck your back toes, lift up the back knee. Strike your right leg up towards the ceiling in a tripod dog. Once again, bend your knee open up through your hips. And then if you'd like to take a flip dog, bend through the left knee, let your right foot fall behind you. Your foot pivots, your right arm lifts up. Back bend, look beyond your right fingertips and breathe. On an exhale, start to sweep back around. Right hand comes down, the rest of your body will follow to the tripod dog. Release your right foot next to the other, downward facing dog, 2 breaths. On your next inhale, left leg up and back. Exhale, place your foot to the outside of your left hand. Toes slightly out, drop your right knee. Lizard pose, starting to find your depth in this posture. Bend the elbow slightly, maybe coming all the way down. And again, first, left knee is coming more or less straight up. Press up into your hands if you took a lower pose, lower position with your arms. Right hand slightly out to the side, give yourself some space. This time, let your left knee drop out to the side. You might come to the razor edge of your left foot. And then, if you want, right heel lifts up, sweep your left arm up and around to grasp your foot, and add a quad stretch here. Release the clasp if you've taken that variation. Swing your left hand all the way down to the mat. Pull your left knee up, tuck your back toes, lift up the back knee. Strike your left foot up and back to a tripod dog once again. Bend your knee, open up through your hips. Option for a flip dog. A little bend to your right knee, let your left foot fall behind you. Your whole body will follow. Left fingertips will reach back, look beyond your right fingers, left fingers. And then as you're ready, on an exhale, you're gonna wind all the way back to that tripod dog. Lift your left foot, come down. Inhale, rise to your toes, come to the top of a plank pose. Stay here in plank pose. Fingertips spread wide. Low belly in, long through your neck. And then on an exhale, slowly lower all the way down to your mat. Bring your arms back behind you. Lean to one side, reach one leg out long. Lean over to the right other hip, reach out the other leg long. So your legs just got half an inch longer. Congratulations, you're taller. Shrug your shoulders up and back, reach your fingertips back, point through your toes. Eventually lift your legs up, maybe zipping up your legs. Soft through your forehead and through your jaw. Maybe attempting to lift your thighs even further away from the mat. And then on an exhale, start to release down, let your heels come out. Take one cheek to the mat, release your shoulders down toward the mat as well. Come back to center and then flip yourself onto your back. Bend both knees, placing your feet into the mat. Cross your right leg, your right thigh over your left thigh. Lift up your hips and then scooch them over to the right about 2 inches. Drop both knees over to the left. If you find that this twisted variation is simply too much, rewind, uncross. If you're looking to take this even further, press your elbows into the mat and then rotate your shoulders so your left rib cage is starting to point more upward. Trying to get both shoulders flat onto the mat. Send your gaze over to the right. Is there any place that you can release tension? Any place where you can offer yourself a little more compassion? And then on an exhale, take your head and knee up towards center again. Re-square your hips, uncross your thighs, cross left thigh over right. Scoot your hips over to the left, 2 inches. Drop both knees over to the right. Adjust through your shoulders so you can keep both shoulder blades onto the mat. Continue to stretch by sending your gaze over to the left. Take your gaze back up to center, bring your knees up. Recenter your hips, uncross your legs. And then you're going to rock up and down the length of your spine just a couple times, coming to a boat pose. Arms outstretched, palms up. Flex through your toes on an inhale, extend your legs out, hover your feet, hover your shoulders. Shoulders are working away from your ears, looking towards your toes. Low belly in, get strong. Soften through the muscles surrounding your eye sockets. Active through your fingertips. Continue to try to press your low back into the mat here. Just breathe. Again, finding the expansion on your inhales and contraction on your exhales. Soft through your neck. Focus on your breathing. And then release your heels down, release your shoulders down. Separate your feet a little bit wider. Final posture of this class is Shavasana. All of the work that you've done, allow yourself to remove some of the muscular action. allowing your physicality to drift away. And as each piece strips away, offering yourself a bit of compassion, a bit of gratitude, until all that's left is your being. Slowly drawing in a deeper breath. Sending some of that feeling of vitality all the way through the extremities. And a relaxed exhale. Begin to invite some more movement into your body, perhaps taking a good morning stretch. Maybe your fingers and your toes and other joints. When you're ready, roll over onto your right side traditionally, pausing for several moments. Recognizing the transition from practice on mat to sitting practice off mat. And as you're ready, come to a seated posture of your choice for a brief reflection and meditation. On an inhale, bring your arms up toward the ceiling, palms pressed above. And on an exhale, take your thumbs to the space between your eyebrows for clarity of thought. To your lips for clarity of speech. Return to your heart for clarity of action. Put your head to your heart, offering yourself compassion, gratitude. Offering that to others, recognizing that this practice often on the mat will reflect in the world off the mat. Giving yourself compassion and gratitude again for all the work that you've done, the work that you continue to do. Thank you so much for practicing with me, helping me to deepen my own personal practice. In the name of the highest good, namaste.